all, I remember the first time I saw her, I thought she was beautiful.
I remember him being nervous.
Going into it, I had the same expectations any 15-year-old boy would have, you know. Didn't know the girl. I figured, let's see what happens, you know. Could lead to something, it might not, but what do I have to lose at this point?
My friend had set us up, so I just basically thought we were going as like a big group of friends going to a dance. And I just like probably you do, you like to go and hang out with your friends, so I thought, you know, this would be a new friend to add on to our group of friends, basically.
So the way it all started was me and two other friends were in my basement, we were having band practice. The one friend said to the other, who went to a different high school at the time, hey, you know, we started talking about this dance they were going to, and they, you know, I was there and part of the conversation, and then my friend turned to me and said, you know what, I have someone that I can set you up with, that you can go with. I got to talk to her, but, you know, I think we should, you know, I'll ask her to see what happens. And at that time I figured, all right, you know, this isn't my school, you know, this is a person that I know, so if things don't go well, what do I have to lose? So expectations weren't real high, I guess, based on the situation. They didn't need to be. It was just let's see what happens, and things ended up working out.
Well, we went on the date to the dance, and then we just started hanging out like on weekends. We were about 25 minutes away, like a couple towns apart, so we would go and see each other Friday nights or Saturday nights, just a couple times during the weekends. And then I ended up having to move to Pennsylvania with my family, so we kept in touch. We dated long distance for pretty much ever until we ended up going to the same college. It was probably around the same time that we actually lived in the same place.
There's ups and downs. You know, throughout high school, there's a lot of challenges. We always had a long distance relationship. When we were 15 and met, she lived about a half hour away, and for a kid without a driver's license, doesn't matter if you're a half hour or 7 hours. You need to rely on other means to see each other.
My daughter really hadn't gone out with a boy before, and it was exciting because it was the homecoming dance, and it was a blind date, and nerve-wracking because we didn't really know Sean, because he didn't go to her high school. He went to a different high school, so we knew nothing about Sean. But when we met Sean, he was very nice and made me more relaxed.
Well, I think as a father, you're always kind of protective of your children, and in my case, especially my daughter, because it's just a father's thing, that's your daughter, and she's the one that needs, you know, potentially needs the most protection. And so, did not have any idea about Sean. He wasn't a kid local that everyone knew about, and so I was a little bit nervous. And again, first date ever, and so you know, wanted to know a little bit more about Sean, and you know, was hoping to meet him and to be happy at the point when I did meet him that he was going to be a good kid and be respectful to my daughter. You want the best for your daughter, and you know, as people are, they don't always they don't always agree, and so you know, based with that, you went through a lot of times when when they would be perfectly fine and everybody was happy, and other times when maybe they were disagreeing, and you could feel that in my daughter, and so you know, as a father, you try to do the best you can to help her work through you know, things that she might be questioning, and be supportive of, you know, the ideas that she had. And for example, I can remember one time she was very unhappy with Sean, and they were fighting, and you know, she was ready to go driving off, and we got in a car together, and we kind of talked through it, and she was okay at the end. And you know, I think that's the most important thing for any parent, is to try to be supportive and help, and you know, do anything you can to help your daughter, in this case, to you know, do the thing in the end that she wants to do and feels good about.
Because it was her first real date, so we didn't know where it was going to lead, and we at least I knew, because Sean went to a different school and it was, 40 minutes away from where we lived, that they were going to have a difficult time trying to get together a lot because of the distance. So I didn't really think about it being a long-term relationship at that point.
I thought this would be like a friendship thing, but I absolutely did not think that this was going to be the person I was going to marry.
I was 15 years old, so maybe a 15-year-old girl, she might be thinking about that. Girls who think about marriage from the time they're young in a lot of cases, but boys not so much. So I was just thinking, let's go out, let's have a good time. I was definitely not that forward-looking.
In a million years, you never think that it's possible that a person's first date could turn into a marriage and a family. And I think, that comes partially from even, as an adult growing up, how many of your friends or acquaintances did that ever happen? For the most part, I think it's safe to say that most people date multiple people, and it helps them to determine who it is that they're best suited for. And so, no, I never thought that was a possibility. As time went on, it certainly did look more and more like it was going to be a possibility. And I think that the fact that I liked Sean a lot made that okay.
You really have to fight to see someone when you have all those obstacles. So, if it wasn't meant to be, I don't think we would have lasted through that.